Can I start speaking now, by the way? Because I still don't see myself on the screen. Oh, okay, I'm there. Cool. Seems like I'm online now. Hey, people, good night or good day. Because I still don't see myself on this is the, oops. Okay. Sorry, I need to mute myself. Okay, so tonight is feedback again, feedback night or feedback day again. And let's waste no time. Let's jump into the feedback track request channel. And I'm starting with the first one entry, fingers crossed. And that is from Narcotech. I can't spell the dude's name. Yeah, so first let me start the recording. And this is it. Okay, cool. So let's add some gains in. Right, so the track itself is deep dubstep, and I understand the genre because I love dubstep. And I especially love the deep dubstep subgenre because it is a lot different that I normally used to listen to. And this is a great idea, but there are some problems, especially with the sub, because it really just a sub, and I understand that deep dubstep does not use does not use this very heavy, like very heavily processed subs, but this is just a sine wave here, and it definitely needs a lot more. To me, honestly, I would love to hear a lot more processed sub bass than just simple sine. So I would say just add a little distortion and overdrive to it, and it will be a lot better, because we don't really hear the sub, and it is important. You know, the deep dubstep still has a wobbling kind of woo, 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 woo kind of thing, not just something that you might think there is. It's there, but you don't really hear it, don't really feel it. So what I would do is just drop an overdrive on top of the sub. It sounds so cool, distorting really heavily the full master, but I don't recommend you to do that, only on the sub. Okay, so this is the first thing that I really miss, the higher overtones on the sub, and maybe some pulsing effect would be great, you know, using just an LE4 or something to make a add a little more groove to it, a little more rhythm to it. And the other thing that I felt you're missing, so, you know, the whole track is very dry. I love some of the effects that you put here. Oops. Yeah, for example, this effect was great. So deep dubstep loves this kind of thing, so you need to use a lot more spacey, a lot more interesting ear candies, you know. Because, for example, in the intro, you need a lot more of this stuff. Filtered, delayed. I mean, if you are into Ableton, or if you use Ableton, the echo is your friend. Just use, you know, any kind of percussion that you filter and drop echo on it, and you are good to go. And this is very important because this is deep. So, like, imagine yourself under the ocean. Everything must be delayed and reverbed and filtered, you know, just make a really nice atmosphere. I don't really hear it in your track. I mean, it's not enough. You need to put a lot more into it. These little stuff in the background are great, but... And this little raindrop kind of thing is so cool, very good. I would definitely add some Foley in the background, right? Like a rainforest kind of effect or something, just continuously filling up the background a little, or an atmosphere, like a drone or something. This was great too. This HP filtered saw, but I feel like it is fading away too fast, so add a lot more reverb and a lot longer feedback on the delay. Yeah, and this vocal chop was great too. Anyway, you get the idea. Just make a lot more ear candies and make them a lot longer and more wet, all of this stuff. And of course the sub is just, you know, what I thought, what I suggested. The other thing is when you got to this part, I think, this part is a little abrupt to me, honestly, because I feel and I see that you try to make a nice transition with this sound, or introduce this sound. And it could be great until this point, where I can't really tell that the drop is happening, or you wanted to, you know, add a little more tension to this break build up, like with some drums or something. But somehow the drop just started, and I didn't feel the tension. Like I didn't feel that how it should, you know, it should have hit me on the face. I know it is deep dubstep. Oops, driver. So. Yeah, we still need to make tension when we got to the drop and make the sound a lot more stronger. But somehow I don't feel this here. Like some more risers, more effects, and maybe a pre-drop pause can help you a lot. And maybe the drop, you know, this thing. it's not the best choice to, you know, make so empty this part, because I want to hear that I want to recognize it as a drop, but I don't really feel that. Like I would love to hear a suck in effect, like you know what I mean, just make something start on the snare, or maybe here, like let me show you what I would do here. I don't know the BPM, so I'm just doodling here. I make cut, reverse it, come on, reverse it, strengthen, not strengthen, lengthen it, stretch it, like this, maybe with the, what have I done, come on, what is happening here? Cool, so something like that. Come on, this is not my evening, I can see that. And just make an explosion here. Something that big, you know, just hit it on your face. You got the idea, I guess. So if you fix these, like adding a lot more ear candies with a lot more space, you know, reverb, delay and stuff like that. And if you fix the sub and and you work a little more on this build-up, not breakdown, it is not a breakdown, with this build-up, I think this would be a great track, because I really love new deep dubstep, and you know your stuff. Okay, so next one. Sorry, I don't know, maybe I'm tired or something. It is 9 p.m. so this is not my evening. Okay, next dude. Boris 2020.
I'm not. Angels might be by my side, but I'm not one of them. But actually, I am the one who has taken control.
All right, so a nice dubstep track again. So my first thought was that the intro lead is cool, but it's a little not dry, but a little unprocessed. So maybe on its own it not would be bad, but I think I miss some layers from it. For example, in the drop, yeah, this instrument is very good. I love it. I don't know what this is, but it sounds great and fat, you know, it's very wide and stuff like that. Try to put something like not exactly this sound, but something similar that is, you know, a layer on under it. Maybe you can keep the main instrument in the first half of the intro, for example. But in the next half, for example, from this point, you know, try to add a layer, something similar that you use in the drop, and that would create a very nice, like evolving sound to your track. This was my first thought that, okay, this is a nice melody, but the sound itself is a little weak, or empty, or maybe too dry. I can't really tell, but I think a good layer would help a lot. The next thing it was when we got to the drop.
As I rise, they fall.
Okay, so the drums and always the snare, you know, we always trying to find the perfect snare. So if you have a look on this kick, it has a huge transient. So this is a stylistic choice and it's great. Good for dubstep and every heavy, bass heavy stuff. But when we got to the snare, it's sloppy. So the kick sounds like, and the snare sounds like, I'm sure you can hear the problem. So you definitely try to match it. So as a first try, what I would do is try to copy the transient of the kick to the snare. So obviously right now I'm just doodling, but let's see if it will help us. And also I can see on the waveform that the low part of the snare is too chaotic, which means it won't hit well. Maybe it is a sidechain problem, but I can see that the kick is sidechained well. It's pretty lonely, so nothing is playing under the kick. But under the snare, there must be some problems because it is very heavily distorted by phases. Yeah, I can see it here. So probably it is a sidechain problem, but let's see if the transient help us. Yeah, it is slightly better, but I would definitely want to hear something stronger on the low end. So let me try to replace it with a better snare. I have some older projects I made for cymatics, and I have some nice snares that I haven't used. Well, maybe this will be good. So let's kill it. And let's see if it will help us. Yeah, so we definitely need to fade this low end part of that. Let's see. Maybe it's a little too loud compared to the song loudness. But you can hear how harder it hits, simply because there is nothing under it. So the sidechain here in this edit that I'm just making, doing is perfect, but the length of the snare is not too good because, you know, you have some longer claps or longer reverb on the snare. But basically the snare is not a good choice because, first of all, the transient does not match well with the kick, especially with the transient. And the second is that I guess you haven't used proper sidechaining under the snare, and all the other basses basically just eats the snare, and this is not good. So first of all, try to find a better snare, something similar to what I just used here. But if you want, I can pass it over to you. Just shoot me an email and use sidechain. So this was the first thought, that the snare is, you know, needs some work. The second thing is the main bass. Sounds like you're using almost like a saw wave, and with some unison basically and just a sub under it. So it is not processed too well. So what I would do again is I'm processing the whole thing together, but what I would do is go with a filter with a bandpass filter. Let's see, okay, so we are focusing more on the mid lows. So we always EQ the mid lows, but we definitely need them. So obviously you don't want to overdo the mid lows, but if you don't have enough mid lows in your bass, it will always sound weak. So this is why a simple sine wave for example, in the previous track was not enough, because it was not the previous, the one before, the first track. So it was just a sine wave, and because it didn't have any higher overtones coming from the process, so basically distortion, some slight overdrive, it will still sound weak. So you definitely need those mid bassy or mid low overtones to make the sound really heavy. So just some bandpass, and we're already having this very nice little growly, very heavy texture, and maybe some distortion after it. Okay, let's add some EQing. So I'm just doodling again some quick side sound design. Come on, I can't speak today. Okay, let's see if some OTT helps us. Basically, it just makes the sound even weaker. My other favorite tool inside Ableton is a saturator. Why? Because we have a wave shaper, and FL Studio has a really, really nice wave shaper. So basically, I'm a little envious of FL Studio users to have that awesome wave shaper stuff. But in Ableton, if you hit on this curve, you can make your sound even better. Probably this EQ is not needed before the saturator, but after it, okay, no, right now we need to tame that mid-low a little. And another taming on the mid-highs. Yeah, at around 6-7K. Yeah, so if you play around again with the frequency of the bandpass filter, so this is why I'm cranking up the amount. Maybe a little more resonance. You know, these are the stuff that AI will not be able to teach you. It can copy any sample or copy any sound, but why and how it is made, you won't understand it if you just drop in samples. You need to understand this stuff. And because it is very dry, I can hear basically these little peaks. I want to make them more, so just fade them and wash them out a little more, and that is where voices come handy. So even you can use unison or chorus or just a noise sample before all the process. So if you are inside a synth, but right now we can use is the chorus. So let's drop it before the distortions. So cut the low, so this way we are keeping the low end basically untouched, so nice and stable. So it's 100% better now. And that is because when you distort the voices, the extra voices, the whole stuff will just you know, be a lot harder, because it is going to a little more in the organic direction of the sound. So voices are very important. I don't really see and hear too much voices in your sound design regarding the bass. But basically before and after, so this was before, and this is before, after. Come on. So before, after. The high end should be a little more aggressive to compare it to your sound. But basically the tone of the synth or the bass is, I guess, a lot stronger now. Yeah, so Control A to select all of them, Control G to group them, and it is a lot easier to just, you know, mute and unmute. And it was just a very minimalistic process. All right, so some of the dudes said maybe some disperser. Yeah, maybe some disperser would help us. We can try, or you can try it, but I don't want to waste other dudes' time now. So this was regarding to the bass and the snare. And other than that, I think your drop is a little short. So the intro, look at this. So the intro is this long, but the drop is this long. Of course, I can see that you have some breath part, so where the song breaths. And we continue with the drop, but to me, honestly, this part is a little too short, so I was not able to nod my head, or not even, I didn't have time to start nodding my head, you instantly ended the whole stuff. So maybe the arrangement here on the drop is a little weird to me, but other than this,
we all came from dark.
Your pre-drop stuff is good. I think the build-up is cool. So if you fix these, I think your sound and your whole song will be a lot better. Probably, in my opinion. Right, next dude. And 3. Oh, Groovy Bob. Love the name. It's an awesome meme song, by the way. I know it, I don't know, but probably it will not supposed to be a meme song, but who knows. Okay, what should I say about this? First of all, I love the 808 part. So this thing, it's so mental because this 808 distorts everything. It should not sound well, so I should hate it, but I love it because it is crazy. It kills everything, and I think this was the point of the whole stuff, to make like mental ideas into one song, but put mental ideas. But anyway, I love this part. I'm not really sure about this thing though, because it is okay. First of all, if you want to use this type of meme in your song, like shouting in the face and just make people scared, or just, you know, in the face, this is just too long. So the same thing that I felt in the beginning. This build-up is great though. But I would process this shout a little to make fit, to fit with the drop a little more, because it is too heavy and too loud, and I would say it's a little too long. It doesn't rise the tension. To me, maybe I am wrong, but the drop does not hit that hard simply because of this scream is too, maybe it is just too loud. Let's see if I pull it back. Especially when the drop hits and the scream is still playing. I think some reverb could make it a lot better and a lot bigger. So if you want to make it bigger without, killing the drop, just use effects. And I think this is why I feel it a little off, because it should sound really loud, because it is very, very heavily distorted and the dude is screaming, but I don't hear the atmosphere, which comes from loudness. And I think this is why it tricks my ears and my brain a little. So I think some reverb, you don't think about 10-second long reverb, just short reverb would make it a lot bigger and just make a bigger tension. This drop is cool. Hardstyle, what can I say? And again, this classical churchy kind of thing is coming in a little too abruptly, I think. So I would definitely fade it in with something like, again, an effect, not like an impact boom effect, but some atmospheric kind of like a horror scream, like, I don't know, like, with lots of reverb or something, just make some more surprise, because this is coming from nowhere. So if you use some scary effect or some surprising effect, you can make the introduction a lot better, I think. This is just a little too direct to me, honestly. Or maybe just a reverse reverb. Let's see if we can do that. It is always working, by the way. So if you just use a short part, yeah, it's cool, and drop a 100% wet reverb on it. It doesn't need to be too long. And just freeze it and then flatten it. Very cool. Reverse it. Maybe this would help. Who knows? We never know. But we need to try it, don't we? I'm still not 100% sure about this, but some cool effects would help definitely. It's always good to have some cool ear candies inside a song. That always makes it interesting. Okay, so we talked about the second drop. It's cool. Interestingly, I don't miss anything from here because the drop hits so hard. It basically would kill everything, even if you put, I don't know, minus zero decibel loud explosion effect. This drop will still sound very fat and very loud, simply because how you processed here everything. So everything is super crunched, but still punchy. The kick is still punchy while you distort everything, and I love it. I think this drop, simply because of this, works. And the outro is, I love it. It's an awesome. Oops, that is me. Okay, so I love the outro. It's just so funny and unexpected. So yeah, cool meme song. I love it. Next, dude. Okay, and that is from Diddlies. Okay, one of the dude in the chat said that it is a little too repetitive, and it could be a lot better if you just, you know, if it was half of the length. So if it was this long, it would be a lot better song. So if you are a beginner and if you don't 100% know what you're doing, don't try to make an 8 or 10 minutes long song, because it will be so just making a 10 minutes long song interesting and involving and you know, engaging, especially engaging, so stick the listener's ears to your song. It's a whole lot of work and you really need to be thoughtful, so it's a very hard job to do it. And I felt the same thing here, is that it is too long, so we're not able to fill up the space with creative ideas and stuff like that. So just make it half as long as right now and it will be cool. Yeah, it's not a bad song at all, so I'm not saying it is bad. Let me give you a few points. This intro is very cool, very nice organic sounds. So this was the part where I think I got a little bored. Try to evolve the sound. So okay, you introduced a new instrument, the piano, and that is very cool. But all the other sounds didn't really change, and you haven't introduced any effect that, you know, goes in and out to make the sound evolving. Even this square lead, I think it is a little too dry. Maybe if you fatten it up with some effects, maybe a little distortion and reverb, maybe a chorus or something, you know, just make it a little fatter. I think that would work a lot better. Right now it's a little too cheap. And this brick and this build-up is good, but I miss something a lot more intense here. You know, this pre-drop part, this section is good, but when you actually go to the drop, it lost its meaning. So I can't recognize if that is the actual drop is happening. And that is where I try to make something similar in the previous for the previous song. Something like, you know, that sucking effect, you know, that just sucks in the listener, recognizing that, okay, come on, the drop is happening, so get ready, it is going to hit your face. This is not happening here. So try to introduce something here that makes the listener get ready. Okay, so this is very important. The next thing that I want to talk about is the sub. So it is not bad, but I missed some process on it. The same way as I mentioned, the dude for the first song, because I feel the same thing here, that you need to add a little more higher overtones or mid-bass, mid-low overtones on the side to make it really fat. I think this is just a sign, and it does not cut through too well. It's a lot better than the previous one was, but I still miss it. Okay, the next thing is the drums. I know I always critique the drums because actually, you know, we are talking about EDM, electronic dance music, and it really is about a drum. So if the drums are not on point, you can have the greatest ideas of a song. It was just not cut through. So it is very important to really nail the drums. And I feel that the kick is a good choice, although the transient is eaten by the instruments. So what I would do, as I can see, the transient is a lot quieter than the low part. So I think a simple compression or a transient shaper would help us. So I don't really use compression on drums simply because I don't want to ruin the other parts. I prefer transient shaping. Sorry, I need to sneeze, but it went away. But I have a very cool Max for Live transient shape. What is it? Maybe no, Carver. It is called Carver, and it basically just touches the transient. So, and after that, just use a saturator that catches the peaks. So you don't want to make huge amplitude peaks in the spectrum. You want to just make the transient really shiny and sharp. This is why the saturator is a must-have after transient shaping. So maybe it's too much now, but you definitely need something. Maybe let's pull it back a little. Come on. Yeah, I think this is cool. So it slaps a lot more. With the second step, so the snare, that is actually just a clap on top of the kick, I feel the same. What I like to do is make a fade on top of the clap, so it won't kill the transient. You barely have any transient on the drums. Let me tell you what I do. So let's say we have this nice Ghosthack Ultimate whatever. I need to make this a little bigger. So let's say we have kick. All right, so this is the kick, and let's say we have a clap on top of that. Yeah, that would work well. So if you process these two together, I guarantee that the clap will kill the transient of the kick, and you obviously don't want to do that. You want to have the snap, and for that, what I like to do is make room for the kick transient to cut through, like this. So maybe you don't hear now what is happening, so the difference between the unfaded and the faded sound on the clap, but if you start processing these, especially with tons of other instruments in the mix, I guarantee that you will hear the difference. But you don't hear that you are cutting on the clap, and it is the same. So preserve that transient, guys. This is actually very important, especially if the kick drum that you have does not have too much transient on it. So yeah, this is what I love to do, and this is what I always do. And of course, I haven't even talked about how to process the claps to really cut through the mix on top of the kick. And you know, there is a lot of things to talk about, but I made a very nice drum synthesis masterclass on Let's Synthesize Academy, and I talk about that a lot in this regard. So if you want, go and check it. This was my self-advertisement here. Anyway, the next thing that I have a little problem with is the mixing. Now, I don't want to go too heavily in details, but what I love to do is keeping the hi-hats really shiny and really, I would say, sharp. So I mainly boost the hi-hats like this at around 12K, but on the instruments, I always cut a little. So not too much, maybe above 12K. But this way I separate different instruments. So I separate the drums. They are really, the hi-hats are really on the very shiny, very high part of the spectrum, filling up that particular space. And the instruments are still shiny and bright, but not as bright as the hi-hats and the drums. And this is important to, avoid these clashing frequencies on the tops. And I feel the same in the mids too. Some of your frequencies, especially in the second half of the drop here, yeah, these have lots of clashing frequencies. These heavily detuned saw, I think that is a saw, detuned saw or unison saw, has a huge mid-high or mid-frequency dominant frequencies. and I miss the highs from it. So this is how I would fix only this detuned saw lead. And also we have some rumbly low mid frequencies too, especially in the mid. The problem is especially in the mid. So yeah, there are some mixing issues, but okay, these are not not major problems, because the song structure is, I think it is cool, and during time your ears will be sharp enough to recognize these problems, and I bet that you will be able to fix these. But I just wanted to give a point on to, you know, save you some time. Probably it will, and keep grinding, because this is a great song. Next would be for the break. I haven't brought any drink, and I really need my throat needs it. So next one is Zylo. Wow. Okay, look at this sausage. I mean, lots of EDM tracks look like this, but this is not a good thing here, because everything eats the drums. It sounds like if everything was very heavily crunched and compressed intentionally. I bet this is intentional, but it does not sound well, man. So you wanted to have a very heavily compressed and very loud mix, but you sacrificed the clarity. So especially the drums. I can't even hear the drums. So like, look at this. Okay, the low part of the drum, the bassy part is there, but the transient is eaten by every other instrument. The same thing with the snare. So this is, I don't know. I can't really tell you what, I can't really tell what you made. So if the problem comes from the master process, the master chain, or the mix, or it is just lack of, you know, the drum choice is not too good. I can't really tell, but everything is so chaotic, man. I mean, the song itself is surprisingly good. So the sound design and the arrangement, to me, honestly, and the build-ups and stuff like these work well. So the instruments, the sound design is not cheap at all. So I love it. But somehow how you mixed or mastered, I can't really tell you what's the problem here or where it comes from. Just ruins everything. So be careful with crunching everything together and make dynamics to your song. This can come from the choice of drums and how you process them, how you sidechain them and stuff like these. And also the mixing. So there are lots of clashing frequencies. So sometimes, again, this is true again. This is a law for most of you guys. So less sometimes is more. And this is what I feel. You wanted to have a huge crunch and a very loud song, but you basically sacrificed everything on this. So it's a very cool drum and bassy kind of thing, and I love drum and bass. I love the atmosphere and love how you use the space. So I think you know what you're doing, but maybe your conception was a little wrong on this one. Yeah, I think it is coming from the master. Because I can clearly hear how this, what is this, vocal chop, maybe it is a vocal chop, gets louder as the other instruments, especially the low end, the sub or the bass, guitar bass instrument stops playing. So I guess it's the mastering. But anyway, you get the idea. I can't really tell anything more about it because this is the main issue. If you fix this, we can talk about this a little more in detail. But right now, this basically, I'm sorry I need to say this, but this ruins your whole song. This ruins this really good song, and that is a shame. Shame on you. No, not shame on you. You are talented. I can hear it, but just be careful with overcrunching your master or your mix. Okay, so I'm taking a very short break, bringing some drink, and see you guys next time in a few minutes. Okay, I'm back. I'm sorry to tell you guys, but I think I can't continue this without some boots, so I think I need to do some coke. So here is my coke. All right. Next dude. Dude is Pyro Beats. Holy moly. Okay, before I get into details, Finora, the previous track dude, commented saying that I think my mix is pretty good. I did a lot of sidechaining. So I typed in a comment, but somehow I deleted that. So this is why I'm telling you in live. So yeah, if your mix, this sound was intentional, that okay, you reached your goal, you succeeded. But believe me, this is not very comfortable to listen to, simply because of the things that I said previously. So maybe later you will hear it. And as I said, the track is good. So the track itself is good, but it is too much. The compression or the process on the master or whatever you did on the mix is just too much. So it is not. I think this is the best thing I can say. It is not comfortable to listen to because everything is so crunched. So I didn't want to hurt your feelings or stuff like that. I just tried to be helpful and give you some advices. But yeah, the song itself is good. Only the mix or the master is just too much. And regarding the sidechain, you did a lot of sidechaining, but I saw that the transient of your kick and snare is very heavily smushed because of the other instruments. So maybe the sidechain was not properly set because you crunched a lot on the drums. So this is the other thing that I wanted to say regarding your comment. Okay, let's go to Pyrobeat song. Put something under here, like talking, like a talking guy, like through a radio station. This part is too empty. Again, the same thing. I want to hear under it, like a talking guy under it, something. through a radio station, distorted, bandpass filter, then distorted, with lots of echo and reverb and stuff like that, you know, under it to fill up the space, so don't make this too dry, like make this part a lot wetter. Sorry, I said this is not my day today, I can't talk and stuff like that, can't think. I miss some transition effects, like risers, drop effects, stuff like that connects this part. Also, this lead that you started with keeps playing the same way when we are at almost half minute. So this is a bad thing because you don't evolve this sound, make the sound bigger as we go forward. So even opening a filter or layering the sound or do whatever, just opening the decay or the release of the envelopes, you know, to make it like evolving and make it bigger as we go forward. Because right now here at this part, at around like 15 seconds, this whole thing gets a little boring because it can be good, so not the melody is bad or something, or even the sound is not bad. It's just not, it is not evolving, and this makes the listener a little bored. So actually it is important to make the sounds evolving. There are a million ways to do that. The riser is good, but it's not enough, so use more effects, please. The same thing again, that happens a lot with you guys, as I keep listening to your songs. If you achieve the building some tension in the build, yeah, you basically, I don't know, this is, yeah, I get it, this is a new trend, that using very long pre-drop, but if you don't do it well, you kill the tension that you built up with the build-up. You built up with the build-up. So make sure that you don't kill it. This part kills it, unfortunately. It would help a lot if you put something here. Yeah, you did. You put something under it, but it is just, you know, it's not enough, because by we get here, you lose everything. I'm sorry, but this is too long. Maybe if you just, you know, it was just half this long, would be better. Yeah, it's a lot better, and if you use, for example, a reverb that you open up on the wet knob, maybe that would help a lot. So let's try it. Maybe it will be better. So maybe with a compression. So how I achieve it is map the wet on both of the reverb and the OTC to a macro knob. Yeah, maybe this would help it a little. Okay, so this is regarding the intro and the build-up. These are very mad sounds, but I don't really hear the sub. I think this is again the same problem with the others. Here, you have some overtones, because I see that the sine wave is a little bent to the left. So it has something on it. I can't really tell what it is. It mainly comes from adding extra overtones. If you use, for example, citrus, you can, you know, draw in some overtones. You can draw in some harmonics, and that is when some, you know, when you do that, sometimes this happens. So the sine wave bends to one direction. Anyway, just use a distortion, some slight distortion on the sub to make it louder just creating some extra harmonics, because right now I don't really hear the sub. It is just a sound wave basically. I really want to hear that rumbling low end. So this is the first thing, and the main gun that you use is cool, but it is too dry. So that sound is cool, but it's very narrow, and I want to hear very wide effect on it, and that is mainly are done by using the hybrid reverb. So hybrid reverb is basically just convolution reverb. So I bet I think FL has a convolution reverb too. Use a short convolution reverb. So pull back the decay to about, I don't know, like 300 milliseconds, play around with the size, and yeah, that will be cool. So I don't know why, but simply a convolution reverb works a lot better than a simple algorithmic reverb. At least this is what I experienced making hundreds of different ear-out sounds, and some distortion, compression, stuff like that. So most of the time, a hybrid reverb, so a convolution reverb can help you make your sound a lot bigger. And for guns, this is actually important. Other sounds have some reverb under it. There is this screamy kind of thing. I think that has something. Okay, and again, the drums. I can see you compress your drums very heavily, and that is good. I mean, compressing the drums is not always good or bad, but how you did it here is a little problematic because you lost the low end. So you lost the power, the weight of your drums on both of kicks and snares. I'm not sure about sidechaining here. It looks like it is cool. And maybe this snare is not a good choice because it is clashing with the guns you already have. This is a cool gun, by the way. It has a little too much in the mids, so it is clashing with the drums and the other sound. Try to add a little dip in the mids of this gun, and it will be cool. But I don't see your project. I should see it to tell how much and where to put it. But as I can hear it, some dip in the mids could fix your problem because it's a cool sound. And also the screamy sounds clash a little. You have that scream sustaining sound, sustaining lead, that screamy stuff. And you have some vocal screams, as I can hear it. And all of them play on the same frequency range. That is a little problematic because they are clashing. So I would definitely EQ them to give a dip on one of them. So they don't share completely the same frequencies. So some mixing issues, but it's not a big deal, honestly. Again, in the outro, this part needs a little more movement. So as I said in the intro, try to put a distorted, band-passed, echoed vocal under it, to give some life to it, because it is too long and too lonely. Very easily, this thing can be very easily boring. Sorry, I can't speak, but yeah. The same thing on the next part, so the upcoming part of the outro. Yeah, cool. Are you happy, Pyro Beats? Next one. Next dude is Wayne. Woo! Oh, okay. So, sorry, I had to end it. So, I'm just talking to Ghosthack stuff, and they advised me to. No, I don't like to skip tracks because I want to listen to the whole song, but everything over 5 minutes is just too long for the stream, I guess. And I just want to have more time for others. And this is why I skipped it. So this track is too long. I know it is a stylistic thing because I clubbed really much in the 90s, and this is how people just made their songs in the club. Songs are like 7 or even 8 minutes long, lots of a bit long. So with lots of introduction with pumping kicks and stuff like that. But this is a different era. We got bored of this, and sorry, I don't want to offend anyone, but I will skip through if the track is too long. Anyway, basically I said what I wanted to say about this track. It's not bad. How it started was really cool. It brought the feels going back to the 90s. I haven't muted my microphone, sorry, so the recording is a little messy right now. But at least it has this really nice club atmosphere. Very cool. Anyway, so it is a little too long. So the lead thing goes like 2 minutes straight in the first part, or even more. Yeah, it is starting here, and it's still going without any changes. I can hear that you applied I think it was a phaser somewhere in the middle of the drop, but so we are in 3 minutes and basically nothing changed. So once again, I know that this is a stylistic thing, especially back in the 90s, but those tracks back in the 90s had a lot more when we got to the climax of the song. So basically how they built up is they had a very long intro with just kick pumping, and that had the purpose to make the DJ have an easy job to mix the songs. But after we got to, so when we finished the very long intro, the song started to be very colorful and evolving and interesting. So don't fool yourself to have a 7 minutes long will just satisfy anyone. No, you can have a very long intro, to make the DJ have a easy job, and a very long outro for the same reason. But the middle part of the song, that basically the valuable part of the song, should be very colorful and basically have all the arrangement that you need to put in a song. And I don't hear this, so basically the only interesting part was the beginning, when I thought that this will be a good song. Sorry to say that. I know that this is very harsh. It's not a bad song, it's just too long. Okay, so this is all, but the middle part is cool, although I think this is a little off, because it sounds like if it was a trance song in the middle of a house or a progressive house song. So I felt myself, okay, this is again going back to the 90s, but a different club with a different audience. So this is a trance song in the middle of a progressive house track. So it felt a little weird, but try to change this lead sound with something. Put a layer on top of that. Pause it with some breaks, some fills, introduce a different instrument with the same melody basically, or add fifth on top of that with a different instrument, or do whatever to make it a little more interesting. And also 7 minutes is just too long, but I really enjoy the beginning of the song. Sorry, I know I'm a dumb, but this is how I feel. Anyway, it's a cool stuff. I really enjoy that, and I'm curious what you will be able to drop next time. Next dude. And this is from Real.
can't transform yourself. You can't make yourself sane. You can't make yourself loving. You can't make yourself unselfish. And yet it's absolutely necessary that we do that way. It's absolutely necessary. Or even just accepting it. You can't do it. Why? Because you don't really exist as that kind of a separate ego or personality. It's just an idea based on a phony feeling. What happens then? You actually realize you come to a dead end. And the human race has come to a dead end. What then? What happens when you just wait? There's nothing you can do. You watch. And all you see is what goes on that is happening obviously. You're breathing, the wind is blowing, trees are waving, the blood is circulating, your nerves are tingling. It's all going on with itself. But you know that's you. That's the real you. The you that goes on of itself. In 1971, at a dead end. This is the moment of which it is said man's extremity is God's opportunity.
Alright, cool. I'm a little confused because the instrumental part of this song is very cool. I really enjoy that.
You can't
Although this bass to me honestly is a little unprocessed, so I don't really enjoy the sound of that. Maybe because I'm a sound design wizard, not wizard, nerd.
You can't transform yourself. Yourself saying you can't make.
I would have loved to have a little more, maybe filtered and more distorted type of Reese bass. Or maybe just a regular Reese bass could work a little better to me, honestly. But this is not the biggest problem that confused me.
Yet it's absolutely.
I love these vocals, by the way. It gives so cool atmosphere. But when it gets to the drop, I was not be able to decide it was a drop really.
Or even just accept.
So this drum is so cool. This feel is awesome.
Or even just accept it. You can't do it.
But after that, something weird was happening. So.
Or even just accept it.
Yeah, I can hear that. Here is a clap.
You can't do it. Why? Because.
And maybe I can hear a kick. Yeah, I can see that this kick is here.
Because you don't really exist as that kind of a separate ego or person.
But again, the next clap.
Because you don't really exist.
Is Ethan.
You exist as that kind of a separate ego.
So something is weird happening in correlation with drums and maybe the bass. I'm not really sure, but definitely needs to tame this bass. Try a simple Reese bass instead of this one. Let me show you how I would make it. It's very simple, by the way. Take serum, use a solve with like three voices of unison, don't need to have too much of the tune. Filter it and maybe add drive to it. No, don't add drive to the first place, but some distortion, and especially with the linear fold or sine fold, but don't go too crazy with that. Maybe a bandpass filter would work better here. This sound will work a little better, I think. It's not cutting through the mix too heavily, but it still has some nice low end. Anyway, nice growly, and still has some space for the other instruments. But also the drums are, I don't know what you did here, dude, but...
Because you don't really exist as personality. It's just an idea.
Like, this feel is so cool.
It's just an idea based on a fully feeling.
And all I can hear is the 808 hi-hats. So nothing on the main drums. Okay, something is happening here. That's cool, that's true.
What happened?
This breakdown again is very cool, to me, honestly. Please forgive me, I can't speak today. Maybe it's a bit long again, but at least it's colorful and fat. And again with the same drums. Come on, I can't really tell you what is happening here.
That's the moment.
Yeah, so try to make the bass sound a little more exciting, more filtered and more organic and analog, and less dubstepy. And, you know, fix the drum somehow and it will be a great song, I bet. Next dude. Lucas Zilot. Ha! Welcome. I haven't started recording it. Okay, so very good track. I think I can talk about this without the recording. So it's a very nice track. As Ghosthack stuff said, it's awesome. There's an awesome vibe on it and very well produced. Although there are two things I want to talk about. The hi-hats, I can't hear the hi-hats. And you know what I love to do is boost the very highs on the hi-hat, so don't make it sweepy, just separate it from the other instruments, you know, to fill up the very high part of the song, of the spectrum. But you know, don't do it with the instruments, so that's not good. Keep the hi-hats clean and shiny on the very highs, but try to add a little cut on the instruments so they don't clash. This is the first thing, and I think it was the bass, as I heard well, that it has, you know, how you sound design it, had a noise layer. So I guess how you made it was something wavetable or sine or whatever with the noise, and you crunch them together with a saturator or something. But it was a little too much, and especially on the mid highs, I think at around like 5K or something, it was a little too much because, you know, it clashed with the drums as I heard it. So especially with the snare, it shared the same frequency range, and it was not good because I felt that it is a noise playing constantly in the background, and as I heard it was the bass, but it was just not very pleasing for it. Try to tame it a little and replace it with the tops of the hi-hat. So for example, using an open hi-hat crash or a crash or whatever. But everything is well, I think everything was on point. That lead was very nice and jazzy, so I love that. The very, very cool vibe, so it was not cheap in harmonic and melodic wise. It was very cool. Just some minor mixing advice, but yeah, it is a great beginning, a great starting point. So please finish it. I want to hear the final track. Next dude. If I don't talk too much of a song, it means that the song is really great. Because I don't want to over explain everything or talk unnecessary things. Come on. I haven't recorded it again. What the heck? Oh, because it is not armed. Okay, try to remember what I wanted to say about this. Okay, so the intro was awesome. I loved it, but it really fooled me because I thought it would be a lyrical song or something, and the switch came too abruptly. I would say try to make a better switch or make the transition a little more obvious. And I know this can be a stylistic choice, and if your purpose was to surprise the listener, you did, but you know, there's a good surprise and a bad surprise. I'm not saying this was bad, but how I felt was something off. So maybe that is because I expected that this will be, you know, what is that? Hip hop, the new era, kind of old school, not old school, lo-fi hip hop. So I thought this will be a lo-fi hip hop song, and when the boom, doom, doom, doom thing came in, it hit me in a bad way. So I was confused, not confused. I disappointed a little because I wanted to hear a lo-fi hip hop track. But anyway, how the drop came in, so you had the same problem again that the previous guys had. You built a nice tension, but interestingly, this happened only in the first drop. The second drop, it was good. But in the first drop, you built up a cool tension, and you used that very trendy, nowadays it's very trendy, pre-drop section, where you kill the tension, like everyone else, basically. Just make it shorter or make it a little stronger or do something with it to keep the tension or even raise the tension, because basically that is the purpose of this pre-drop. Not to kill it, but you killed it. But in the second drop, it was cool. I didn't feel that you killed the tension in the second drop because I think it was a lot shorter, if I remember well. And that was another thing. Yeah, okay, the other thing, the melody, as you said, and the melody and the harmony was the strongest point of your track. I agree. Very nice, moody, and very, I would say, very well served melody. But the instrument that you used could have done a little more, how we call it, I can't remember. In sampler we have the pitch glide. Oh yeah, so portamento, or even, you know, the pitch wheel. You can't see it here on my desktop, but if you play around with the pitch wheel, you know, to have a little glide or some vibrato or some pitch bending, some of the melody parts or the sustained parts of some of the notes, that would make it even more interesting and more live feel. And that is so cool, because I can imagine that a pianist plays this melody on his synthesizer, but also all of them use the pitch wheel to have some glides, and that is very important. So just do it, implement it, it will be great. And I think this was it. This was all I wanted to say, because the track was very cool. It was a little surprising, not necessarily the good way, but it might be just some personal thing, because I'm not a big fan of this pom 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 hardcore kind of thing. Although I listened to lots of hardcore when I was in my 20s, but that was a different hardcore. That was happy hardcore, something like similar to this, but it was a little different. Like Dune, if you guys know what Dune did as a happy hardcore style. Anyway, I love that. So yeah, cool stuff. Nice dude. And this time I want to record it. So it is from Benji. I remember you. Oh, recording.
No more sorries, no more pain, no more us for you to blame. Just our song that we let play again and again and again.
Ah, this track hit me on the feels again. Very cool 90s feeling. Or 90s or maybe 2000s. So... Oh, recording!
No more sorries, no more.
Okay, the vocal is crazy good. I'm not sure where you got it from, but I hope it's your own. I mean, you hired someone to sing it for you or something, but it's awesome.
Again and again and again.
The instrumentals and the harmonies under it, splendid.
Again and again.
And this pluck, come on. I should say that it is boring because it plays through the whole track without any change. But here it works because it is helping the vocal that is in the lead. So it is not the lead instrument. I mean, the pluck is not the lead instrument. It's the vocal, but the pluck basically helps the vocal in a very, very nice way. And it's fat, its sound is rich, so it's not pure sounding sound design, but it's cool, very fat and very interesting. And the melody of that is awesome. The kick transient, as one of the dudes said, is okay. So the kick transient is great. Yeah, very nice, fits in the style. Yeah, the mix is great. I can see, well, okay, the transient is bent, so try to have a look on the side chain. You don't want to see this, okay? So you don't want to have the side chain bent. You want to have a straight looking kick drum, especially on the transient. The same thing happens here, so as you can see. By the way, I do the same thing with the crash, what I showed on the claps. So I tried to add a little fade in. So this way I keep the kick transient untouched, but still have the other parts of the crash plays. So that's cool. And yeah, I really can't say too much of this. I can just praise it, okay? How you add a different instrument or raise the pitch or the octave of the instruments when we got to this part is just cool. And then you subtract the vocals like a pro. Awesome atmospheres. This breakdown is really cool. Introduce the sub and when the vocals come in. Very cool choice.
Step into it. Hold on, it's getting too much.
With the clap, you introduce the pluck. Very nice.
Don't make it too tough.
Again, this is a good example how to make a good build up. You made a nice build up and you didn't kill it with the pre-drop thing. Yeah, great stuff. Keep doing this, man, because this track is awesome. Next dude. Yeah, this is a track where I could not really say too much because it's so great. I just had to praise it. Come on, I haven't muted my microphone. So this will be a little weird sounding now, but anyway. I love this electric intro, to be honest. And when you introduce the harmonics, so sorry. So these chords, these keys, sounds great, but it's a little empty, or I think they're a little lonely. So I would really love to hear a pad above these keys. So that would give a lot more stable ground for the lead that you're introduced to. That sounds cool. But I'm not really sure about the melody, and especially the rhythm of the lead. So I will make it a little busier. Right now it's a little, so it does not sound like a lead, more like just if it was trying to help the real lead. So it's not very catchy. This is all I wanted to say, I guess. So try to make the lead a little catchier. Right now it doesn't really make the song very interesting. To be honest, it is a little boring. So, but this is simply because it is not catchy. All right. So when we got to this part, everything is so lo-fi, so very rough sounding, and that is intentional. I love it, but still I think the snare needs to have a little taming on the very highs, because the 4K, 5K hertz area is a little too much, so it hurts the ears. So yeah, lo-fi and raw sounding sound is a great thing, but still you need to tame. So you don't want to kill the listener's ears. All you want to do is just make the sound lo-fi, and you know, just try to achieve that. It was like, I don't know, like 80s years ago. So anyway, the drums are cool, but try to tame the snare a little on the mid highs. So the same problem here is the lead, so it's not catchy. I can't really follow it, but the instrumentals behind it could not be bad, but I still miss a pad or something that is a little, you know, makes it a little fatter, like a filtered saw pad under it. So to make the fill up the run, I would say the 500 hertz area. That is, I think, what I'm missing. And the bass. So I can hear that you're using something in the bass, but it's so low. In this particular style, you don't want to use a sub, all right? So I think this is in the sub area. Let me check it if I'm right, using a spectrum. So yeah, it's E0. I would say drop it up by 1 octave and use a bass guitar or something. So right now this is too low. Try to use, yeah, a bass guitar. I think a bass guitar would work well instead of a sub. So yeah, all these raw drums, lo-fi drums are so cool. I love it. Oh, here is the pad that I'm talking about. This is what I was missing. Yeah, that is this is what I'm talking about. This is what I was missing. Just filter it a little more in the previous sections, or use a different type of pad. But yeah, this is what I was missing. Here is my bass guitar. Yeah, cool ideas. It needs some mixing basically, and make the melodies a little catchier, but it will be a great song. I think this is a very interesting experiment, so I enjoyed, and I was happy that you sent this over, you submitted this, and unfortunately our time is up, so yeah, that was the last track. And we don't know when the next feedback session will be, because at the end of next month will be Black Friday or something. Maybe we will have it a little sooner or something, but yeah, be a little more active on Discord and you will be notified. Okay, so have a great day, or if you are in Europe, have a have a great evening, and see you guys next time. Peace.